Curtis.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Let's see who.
Good.
Cool.
Where we be?
Yeah.
It looks like we got 3 Nick Bridges with us right now. I'm sure that's always a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
There you go.
How do you
Steve,
change
thanks for making us late.
Yeah, how did you change your name to my name? That's impressive.
Mark, do you always feel like you're always taking care of your brother? Like, seriously, like you just got to answer stupid questions. I was telling my brother how much I enjoyed meeting your brother and his smart ideas. Wish my brother had smart ideas. Steve, click on the little blue thing in the top right-hand side of your video, and it'll say rename. You can rename yourself. You just can't rename anybody else. If you click on the top right-hand side of your video where that link is.
Huh.
And I saw that you were out diving yesterday. Please tell me, swear to God, that it's not in your backyard. You at least have to drive 5 to 7 hours to take a dive like that. Is that true?
No, it was about a 15-minute drive to the port or the marina. That's why I look slightly Amish today, is because I had to.
That's great. Steve, Nick's sending over the onboarding form just to double check the onboarding form. So really what this call is all about is just to make sure we have all the account access settings, triple, quadruple check the links, any last minute information. So the thing that we want to start testing for, Lord Mark, this is good. Not everyone's going to change their name. So just to be clear, the first thing that we want to start up and we want to get testing, Steve, I don't know, is it easier to bring up an Evernote, or actually I'll just wait, Nick, Nick, let me know when you send out we've been having problems with Sama, the agenda that we used the very first time.
I'm digging. Just give me a second.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Whenever you send it, then I'll go ahead and share my screen. So Mark, are we starting to test with you doing like an opt-in to like an ebook or something like that where people get started, or do you want us to start testing for the launch ahead of time? I know that you make a lot of your money from the launch. We want to focus on the launch. If you want us to start testing, let's say next week, what's the first thing you want us to start testing?
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly what the best thing to do. I would like to definitely be able to kind of try this out before we go into the launch, like the big launch in September, just so we know what to expect and how to make it go, et cetera. So it's been tested at least. We have plenty of things going on right now. Like we have plenty of lead magnets that can be tested if that's the way. But we also have we have another launch that's going to be starting in 2 weeks for our Posture Expert program, which could be a good opportunity to essentially test out a launch before the big one.
So let me go through just a couple of real quick points on that. So typically, just so I understand your launch model, is it typically like a Jeff Walker style launch for health?
Yeah.
Same thing, PLC 1, 2, 3, all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So typically what we do is for a Jeff Walker style launch is usually 7 to 10 days, sometimes 2 weeks, we'll start testing ads. So basically like off of what you just said is we would typically take, I don't know, 2 or 3 different lead magnets that you may have that may be correlated to your launch. We want to run that so we have some control numbers, but then we start testing different ad creatives. So by the time that launch happens, then we scale up. That's where we do the pre-testing. So the Jeff Walker style launch, anywhere between 7 to 14, usually 14 days is ideal to start testing, much better than just 7. So if you have a launch in 2 weeks, I would like to, test 2 or 3 other lead magnets for baseline numbers that we're always running, but absolutely it would be right in time to start testing. Steve, do you want to add anything to that?
No, not really. You have it down. We've gone through this process so many times together. It seems like, we basically think of the same thing, which is scary at some moments.
All right, let me share my screen. I'm just going to drop this open for just a second, and then we'll put a bunch of this stuff in Evernote, Mark, and then we'll share all the Evernotes.
And everything. Because Luke, the guy's name's Luke Sherrill. He'll probably moving forward be your main point of contact as far as like the ads and what you need and all that. He's our CMO. He just messaged me a little bit ago and said he was having some internet problems. So he was supposed to be on with us, but I'll make sure he gets a copy of this if Nick can send me the video as soon as possible. He's watched all the other ones, so he's up.
Absolutely. Oh, great. All right, let's pull this up here, which is, okay, here we go. Should see my screen now.
Yep.
Whoops, there we go. Now it's there. We go. All right, so lead pages. Did you, Steve? Did you get the lead pages login?
I don't think so.
From last pass?
From my last pass. Let me double check on that.
Nick, I may have you take a note on this just for the action items, because I may need to have you, Mark, we send the last pass for lead pages to both Steve and I.
Okay.
Really should be to Steve and I and Nick. I'll have Nick put that in a note and give you a to-do list.
Okay.
What
What
all
email
right.
do you want me to share it to?
I'll put it inside of the
Sure.
chat here to make it easy.
Yeah, because I'm going to look at your funnel too. I'll give you all 3 hours. Oh, thanks. That's perfect.
It is not looking like I had lead pass, or excuse me, lead pages in my last pass.
Okay. Okay. Call recording's fine. We had this. So Mark, quick question. I know that you wanted to be heavily involved at first. I know you said that we'll be transitioning with someone else. Has he been with you for a long time? Your CMO?
Not officially. I mean, I've worked with him on and off for about 1.5 years, and then he ran our last launch.
Okay, great. That makes sense. Let's go through.
I mean, I'm going to stay involved until everything is, kind of running on its own, but he's going to be the one that is going to be handling all the tasks. So like kind of moving forward, if you need lead magnets, if you need ad copy, if you need all that kind of stuff, he's going to be the one getting that to you.
Okay, that makes sense. I know you wanted to be involved, and I also want to be respectful of your time because I know that you're super busy, and we want to have it an easy process, ideally, as we move forward, where we jump on the phone, whether it's with you and your partner or however we do it, but once a week for 30 minutes, where it's like, all right, what are the KPIs? What are the numbers? Where are we at? What do we have to do to make changes? All right, let's go. And then that's it. And we just make it really easy. And as you're producing content, we'll give you some suggestions. Like, we won't have to blow up anybody's email to grab a bunch of stuff. We're just going to take the great content, copy and stuff that you already have, and add that into the ads and, put some numbers behind it. So here's what we would want then, and I'll have Nick send you over on the to-do list. It would be, if we were going to test, so let me back up. I'm going to reverse engineer this. The price point of the program that you're going to launch in 2 weeks is what?
1,500, and then there's obviously payment plans underneath that.
Right. If we were to test traffic 2 weeks before, would you want to spend 1,500 to see if we can make one sale because we're going to get a bunch of leads and that helps warm up the list?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. You'd like to test $3,000?
Whatever we need. Like, I don't know. To be quite honest, I'm not an analytical mindset. Like, I've just kind of done stuff. I had no rhyme or reason, and a lot of it worked. So you tell me what would be better.
I like that. Most people are like, I tried a lot of different stuff and that shit didn't work. You're like, I just tried a bunch of stuff and it did work. So let's try to figure that one out. What I'm really trying to look for, the question behind the question, is kind of your comfortability and how you look at this. So like, for example, Steve and I can get a bunch of quantifiable data for $1,500, and maybe you get 1 or 2 sales and we can scale it from there. But then we miss the window of opportunity to get a bunch of other leads. And usually what I tell clients, I say, look, what I like to do is to spend 2 to 3 times of what the product purchase is, because quantifiably, can I get 3 sales? And then all the numbers, the baseline numbers behind that. I was just wondering, like, would you be okay to spend $3,000, $3 or $4,000 to test out for the 2 weeks?
Yep.
So let's just say $4,000. Let's just say $4,000 to make it an easy number. At $4,000, Steve, I would imagine. Mark, do you have 3 lead magnets that would work, that we could use generally, but would work as soon as people opt in, we can put them into the launch or into the sequence?
Yeah.
So if you,
I'm trying to think. I know I have one that's like dead on target with the launch.
So that's perfect. How about 2?
Maybe
a second one?
We have several lead magnets. It's like, and
Right.
I think you can use any of them. I'm just trying to think which ones actually have performed well. But yeah, I can definitely get you 2.
Okay. Yeah. What we're looking for is just baseline numbers. So if you have one that you're great on, that's great. And then after you send those two examples, the third one for the launch. When we do a typical Jeff Walker style launch, is we run to like some kind of survey or quiz or opt-in that kind of butters people up for 4, 5, 10 days. If we're going to test 2 weeks before the launch, what would people be opting into for your launch content?
Like, so when we launch, what are they opting in for?
No, we would start testing 2 weeks before the launch, but we would want to test ads that we would use in the launch. So
Well,
what would people be opting
clarify. When you say launch, are you talking about the beginning of the free training, or are you talking about that as the card open?
So great distinction. Let's talk about that label. So when I'm referring to a launch in the PLC style launch, Steve and I are really referring to your entire promotion.
Okay.
So we'll talk about cart close once cart opens. We're like, all right. So those are our two different labels for it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just trying to clarify because actually in the Walker book, and I don't refer to it like this, but he refers to the launch as actually the cart open. The ad promotion before that's pre-launch. But so we're on the same page. I just want to make sure.
You know what's funny? Out of all the ones that I've done, you're the only person who's ever spoke up and said that. Like, I've never actually read the Jeff Walker stuff. I've just done tons of them. You're the only person that's made that distinction. That's awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, I appreciate
kind
that.
of funny because we've had clients that have gotten trained directly from him, and they haven't called us on it. So that is pretty funny.
So let's call. So I do remember, Steve. Let's call it the pre-launch. That's what someone's mentioned before, right? The pre-launch.
Cool.
So the pre-launch, what would they be opting into that first 2 weeks?
So typically, I don't have anything special for that. Like like when we start with the pre-launch, they're obviously opting in for the free training. Before that, I'm just using a lead magnet that's on point. You know, something that relates to what we're going to end up selling, but it's just a lead magnet. It's not anything specifically strategic for the actual pre-launch or launch.
Yeah, what I'm trying to kind of think through the process of is, if we're going to run ads that we can figure out, like, 2 weeks before, a week before, hey, these look pretty good, let's scale. Mm-hmm. We want to use kind of the same creative, right? And we're going to push them right on into the launch. So I'm kind of curious on what would be the creative. You said that one matches up that they would opt in for.
The launch is a posture expert certification, certified posture expert. So we have a posture expert starter kit, which we have some stuff going right now with that. That's directly on target.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
We're actually doing next week a live streaming event. So it's a posture expert live streaming event. And if I remember clearly, how to position yourself as the go-to posture expert in your community. So that's directly on point. But
those two are great. Perfect.
That's just next week, though. So we would have to turn it into some kind of an evergreen lead magnet.
So just to be clear for just so I can repeat it back so I understand it. So what you're going to do is you'll do a live stream, and then you're going to have people opt in for your live stream, I assume, from your list. Is this part of your kind of indoctrination process kind of before the launch, or is this just a piece of content?
This is something we tried a couple launches ago with not even for a launch. We just did it as an opt-in, like a lead magnet, try it out, and it worked well. So we're using it for the launch as a like lead magnet before the launch. So essentially exactly what you're talking about. We were trying to come up with things because we've been lead genning for the last 2 or 3 weeks to get ready for this launch. So this event is a live streaming. It's a 3-day live streaming event. You've probably seen like Amy Porterfield and people do those. So they opt to our list, and then to get the guide, and then they go into our Facebook group to access
a summit.
Afterwards, I mean, it's not really a summit because it is in Facebook. It's a live streaming Facebook event. And then essentially afterwards, we turn it into an evergreen. So it won't be live.
It'll great. So this is the interesting thing, just kind of a little perspective. This is what Ocean Robbins does, but he calls it a summit. He calls it the Food Revolution Summit. They got like 10 doctors. I know you've seen a ton of those, right? And then he doesn't really have an evergreen after that. He's like, well, we're going to sell them the membership so they can all listen to the recording. And we're like, sell them some program. He's like, yeah, we're going to get to that. So dude, this is great. I love this. So this is exactly what we're looking for. So if we can do the starter kit and you just create an opt-in, just a lead magnet, say, hey, listen to this replay. that's definitely something that we can easily run for 2 weeks, acquire leads, get baseline numbers. I like that a lot. And then just open it up to your, go ahead.
I'm just saying here, if whoever's taking notes, or if it's Nick taking notes, please write this down so you can send it to me. Because again, I'm not the one who's going to be making the lead magnets or the opt-in pages, so I need to make sure that information gets to the right person.
Sure thing.
Yeah, the way we set this up is I love to ask smart people lots of questions. I'm not really good at notes. We have to designate one person to take notes and give somebody a to-do list. Otherwise, it just doesn't get done.
Perfect. Yeah, as long as I get that to-do list, because I don't want to drop the ball on any of this.
Yep. That's why we set it up this way. I completely understand. Okay, so we'll get those 2 links, which is good. Who do we work with for pixel placement? CMO?
Yep.
Okay, we'll work with that. Steve, do you have access to any of the pages yet, or do I got to send over that doc?
I do not have access yet. Let me double check. I'm going to log in here, but
so Nick, I'm going to send you over what I created for somebody the other day that gives access to everything, and I'll have you put this in part of the note process. It'll I'm going to go ahead and just put it in chat. So here is Google and Facebook setup and access. We have a bunch of standard operating procedures to make this easy.
Yeah.
All right. So Steve, I created by the way, Steve, you may want to grab that link as well too. I just created that as a quick text doc, which is the full explanation, examples, and how-tos of how to give you access to the Business Manager, fan page, Google Analytics, Google AdWords, all that. All right. So next one that we have is, so that'll give you access. We'll work up on tracking. What are you going to use Infusionsoft for tracking? Is that right?
Tracking what?
When you run your launches, do you have an affiliate, or do you have affiliates for these launches, or is this launch specifically internally?
Yes, we do have affiliates, and we use Samcart for affiliate tracking.
Hey Nick, can you help me with this real quick? So you use Samcart for affiliate tracking. We would run this cold market and we would be running this cold market retargeting. So Samcart can track if someone, does Samcart track last click in or first click in?
Last click.
So it's last click, default setting. Okay.
But remember, it's going to break Facebook
UTM code.
Well, yeah,
it breaks Facebook conversion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just UTM. So do you know if you have Google, or do you have Google Analytics set up?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I know the answer here, but I always have to ask. When we run launches, some people want to know the mouse nuts of exactly where every penny falls. The problem is Facebook wants to take credit for everything that Facebook gets clicked on. The affiliate tracking wants to take credit for the people who last clicked in. Google Analytics doesn't give a shit about Samcart or Facebook, and they're going to want to see where the credit's coming from as well. So what happens is if you say, Kurt, can you tell me exactly how much money was spent to influence affiliates that bought versus exactly how much you influenced? It's going to be really murky, and it's hard to tell because Samcart breaks that last click for our tracking. I'll be able to say, hey, Mark, we spent 10, or well, I'll make a number up. We spent 10 grand. What I know from the 10 grand is it shows us in Facebook that you made 30. But it could be because it helped influence. So we kind of have to look at the numbers in the list. It's not pretty, but we can figure it out. Because the last thing that we want to do is if we use Samcart and we're last click in, we're going to be running retargeting, and all of a sudden we make a bunch of sales, but it actually was produced originally from your affiliate. They deserve the money because we didn't really spend that much money for retargeting. And then someone manually has to go through that shit, and that's brain damage and a headache. So
how does it break the affiliate link though?
So it's, Nick, do you want to kind of walk through this for a minute? It doesn't break the affiliate link. It breaks the tracking pixel from Facebook. if we use an affiliate link to track our activity.
Right. So,
And it would overwrite your affiliate.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
Well, actually, are you using upsells after the sale?
Yeah.
So the upsell page doesn't allow for code to be inserted into it. At least last I checked. And so we just did this with a client, and so we weren't able to. We had to create separate thank you pages for every single option. So if somebody bought, there was a specific thank you page. If somebody bought and took the upsell, there was a specific thank you page. If somebody bought, does that make sense? And that was the only way we were able to trigger the Facebook conversion pixels base and report back the proper amounts that were purchased from. We can typically do this with Google Tag Manager, but SamCart doesn't allow for Tag Manager code to be inputted into their pages. So that's what it breaks, is that, and it also breaks Google Analytics tracking somebody all the way through the funnel. You can't do cross-domain tracking through SamCart.
So they have, like, on each of the upsell products a place to add CSS. Would that be?
No, it's got to be HTML.
Okay.
So it can be done, but it's got to be done through the thank you pages associated with each individual upsell.
Okay.
And I can work.
Do you have a general?
Well, I can work with your CMO. Take care of all this.
It depends on what you're referring to.
Like the SamCart page setups and where thank you pages are sent and all those sort of things.
He can help direct you to who you'll need to work with, but
okay.
Yeah. Okay, because we're definitely not going to switch off a SamCart. Like, we love SamCart. So.
Oh, no. I'm just talking about just us running traffic. Like your SamCart, your affiliates, like all that stuff the same. I would never ask you, just to be clear, to change anything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just referring to us running traffic for me being able to show you an ROI of roughly or more exact. So if we were going to have an affiliate link, for example, for SamCart, that doesn't work for us because we would override your affiliates unfairly. So my other backup for tracking would be to use Google UTM. And Nick, you said Google UTM actually breaks on the backside, so we just have to talk through it and figure out, they'd have to be individual thank you pages, right?
Well, so you can't track you can't track one person's journey through multiple domains with just Google Analytics. You got to use cross-domain tracking through Tag Manager. But you can only put header or body code on SamCart pages. You can't put both, which you have to do to have Tag Manager installed.
So how would we work around? So if Facebook tracking won't pick up the conversion, it'll pick up the lead.
No, it'll pick up the conversion. It just has to be done through separate thank you pages for every individual option of a customer's journey has to be a separate thank you page with a static value that's reporting back to Facebook.
Does this fit in the same process?
That's what we had to do for Eat at Home. Right? So somebody buys a $27 product and then they take no upsells. There's a thank you page with the $27 value on it. Somebody buys the $27 product and takes a $140 upsell. Now there's a thank you page for $167 with a static $167 value. So that every time any of those individual pages are hit, it's pinging Facebook back with that conversion value.
Okay. So then we just wouldn't be able as running traffic to use SamCart, and the only reason I say that now is because it would override an affiliate. So we can figure out the tracking and everything else. So we would use Google Analytics just to show our overall conversion. I guess we would use Google Analytics and Facebook Analytics to show our overall conversion and influence.
Yeah.
Right, but we would just use naked links. So what we do, Mark, is we end up using just naked links when it comes to retargeting and cart open. So we track everything that comes in from opt-ins, right? And then just to make sure we don't override affiliates or there's no other weird issues, we just open it up. We send it to a naked link, but we use UTM code so we can tell, hey, this is what we influenced, but I just don't know it. So this way we don't have to unravel a bunch of affiliate stuff.
What I think you're going to see happen, Kurt, is that Facebook's going to give credit to the ad campaigns for stuff that is influenced by affiliates, right? Facebook's going to take
Yes.
credit for every sale that somebody hit on a Facebook ad, even though if they were led to opt in through an affiliate.
Right. So Mark, we will set up retargeting. We'll set up the difference between cold market and we'll set up the difference in retargeting. That's the way that we can kind of tell, here's what our retargeting did, and here's what we influenced on cold market. It's just, unfortunately, it's just not an exact science. I just got to make sure you're okay with that, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. You don't seem highly upset about it, so that's good. That's good. Some people freak out about it for 2 hours, so this is great. You're like, no, we're good.
Yep.
So that means we'll get the links. We'll test $4,000. We know the opt-in pages. When we talk, who would have access to, and Nick, could you put this on the to-do list, your emails? Do you have all your emails for your launch inside like a Google Doc that we could see?
Yeah, I should. I haven't updated them yet, but yeah. So you want the
That's fine.
email for the launch sequence?
Yeah, because it helps us understand your language, your writing, kind of your story for the whole thing, and it helps us turn it into ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but what I'm asking is, do you need the exact final copy? Like, because the copy I haven't like updated like the dates and things like that. Does that matter, or do you just want it now so you can read over it?
So I like it now to read over it. The great distinction, a couple of different things, is the dates we can obviously figure out because it's common sense. Is there any new speakers? Yeah, any specifics? Any specifics? We'll just double check with you, but just to get the price of it, it'll be fine.
Just like every time I do a launch, like I typically tweak the copy a little bit in the email just so Google doesn't like see it as the exact same. But the concept, the overall, the promotion, the bonuses, like all the fundamentals is the same.
Okay, great. It's perfect. Let's triple check audience for this. Your ideal avatar. I do have the notes that I'm sitting here and we're looking over right now. For your perfect customer. Is there anything different from here that you would want to tell us for customer data? We'll do lookalike audiences off of your leads. We'll do lookalike audiences off of your past sales. We'll do lookalike audiences off of some of your videos. But is there anything here that you would like us to add to for targeting?
Yeah, if you're going to get super specific, like obviously the people that gravitate to us the highest, the most, are chiropractors. We don't want to just only target chiropractors, but those are the ones who resonate with us the most.
Can you help me with the distinction there? What is it about chiropractors that really resonated? Is it just the back and posture?
We are chiropractors. Like one of our doctorates is chiropractic, so we have that in the same. Another thing, most of our affiliates right now are primarily in the chiropractic profession, so that just naturally gives us.
Thank you.
But also, you know, when we created the courses, we have made it more general so everybody can do it. But we do have things in there such as manipulation and like that. So there's only a handful of manual therapists that can do that, such as osteopaths, physical therapists, and chiropractors. But the course is set up where that's just like it's one unit. Like if you use manual therapy, here's how you can use it. If you don't, just continue on with the rest.
Okay.
But
if
just because of that, people go, oh, it's more of a chiropractic or whatever thing.
So if we were to widen the targeting, just so I understand really narrow and really wide, what would be really wide? What's even kind of wider than chiropractors, or maybe another distinction that's kind of, you know, close to wide like chiropractors?
So moving further out from that, so those are like chiropractors are probably the most targeted, like the most turned on to this. And then it probably falls, to be quite honest, probably the next that gets most excited about it is like personal, like massage therapists. And then you have acupuncturists, you have personal trainers, not as much with this, but we do get a handful. Like I said, osteopaths, but not in the US, pretty much osteopaths in Europe primarily. Osteopaths in Europe are a lot different than osteopaths in the US.
Real quick distinction there. Are we only targeting in the U.S. or would you also like to test in Canada and Europe? What do you like to do?
Yeah. So when I run our stuff, I target Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, and US.
That's generally what we do a lot of times too. So perfect.
So English speaking, essentially.
Yep.
Also, this is something that I use and have used when I'm trying to really target, if I want to get the lowest cost per lead or whatever, I target chiropractic schools. I've never tried targeting other like let's say massage therapist school or acupuncture school, but I would think that could probably have a similar effect.
So that helps with some widening, and sometimes that comes down to the area that I tell people. It's like sometimes we'll do these quizzes for people when we widen it. It's like, wow, we're getting 50-cent leads, but they're not buying. People are just kind of interested in the quiz. So through your experience of doing these launches and stuff like that, have you had many students or a few students who have come through being a student?
Yeah, the things I'm telling you right now are my go-tos.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
Yeah, so this isn't just generic stuff. But what I'm saying is, like, when I want to get an easy win, I go to a chiropractic school because especially for this right now, we're talking about people 4 years out, right? Chiropractors are the most interested, 32 to 45 years. These are the ones, like, that's the easiest win. They like it, they click on it, they want it, they buy it. So what I'm saying is going more distinction. I would use the same tactic, but then try a different profession and would assume I would still have some success. What I've said is I just haven't tried that.
Okay, that's great. That's a great distinction. Thank you very, very much.
The other thing that I've done before is just – anyways, go on. Sorry. What were you saying?
No. I was listening to you.
Well, I was just going to say the other thing I've done before is healthcare professionals, like just the interests, not being really specific, but just doing healthcare professionals. We've ended up getting a decent amount of nurses from this as well. And then again, I said acupuncturists, massage therapists, personal trainers, and then physical therapists and osteopaths. Those are the main ones for this program.
Okay. Further to great. And then once we get access to Google Analytics, that'll give us some more insight. And I know you run some of your ads. We always look through any of your old ads, anything that we see as a control. We can start up and fire up as well too. So we just don't start brand new from fresh. We'll look at all that data.
Mm-hmm.
What's the date range of the launch that you did last that was most similar to this? So Steve dives into the data just to look what you did in the past. What would that date range be that's comparable to what you're about to do?
Like not the most successful or the one that we've just run? Like that's
meaning the product you're going to offer now, you offered this product before, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What was the date range
or the most successful one we've run with this? Because I've run this six or seven different launches.
The one that you spent the most money in on Facebook, so we can see the most data. Their launch that you had where you spent some good money and you had some good performance.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
are you able to like pull up like archive stuff? Because we clean out our Facebook, or we used to for a while. We've cleaned it out, so I don't think some of those are still in there.
You don't know. It's already like almost 4.
That's fine. We can take a look.
I was just going to say,
take a look.
I've run the most recent one we ran, which was more. We didn't use any affiliates. That was in April. We ran one in April, no affiliates. It didn't have a huge success. The most recent one we ran with affiliates would have been like September of the year before, so 2016. I can't remember how much money we spent on it, and again, it wasn't uber successful either. So that was also back. This was the program that we first started with, and I was still honing my skills in launching. So
Okay. I think Steve got the recommendation, which I think what you'll probably just do is just kind of poke around the other account. It looks like,
Yeah.
really with a lot of the information that you've given us, like, dude, we have a lot of information. We can rock and roll on this. So we'll come through the other stuff, but we won't do it. We won't have to do a huge, big, deep dive because you've already given us great information. You tell great stories. Do you have a repository of some videos you've done around this? Like, I know that you have your videos for your launch. Did you do any other videos, any other short videos for your launch?
Of course. So, if on YouTube, we have, our YouTube channel, and I just put into the comments here, essentially the keywords that are going to be related to this program we're talking about. So
Great.
and then some common videos, Wade, like our pullers or Wade technique, posture analysis, spinal push test, 100 increase. So like I'm just putting some
Yeah, because we can put it on the to-do list. If we can work with you or your CMO or somebody to just to point us in the direction of some videos that we can download from YouTube so we can run as ads on Facebook for content, that would be amazing.
Yeah. So on our YouTube channel, we have tons of videos, and then you can also just probably sort it by the most viewed, which is going to show you the most popular. And then as long as it fits on one of these, 4 things that I've just posted, then it's on.
Would we, so help me out with this. I want to make sure I understand the labels and the distinctions on this. Would we be able to tell from the videos if we sorted by like most viewed, if this was in the keyword or title, one of these words, then we could use it? Is that right?
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there's probably going to be others, but what I'm saying is those, if you're looking for, you look for those essentially. Those are the keywords.
Okay. Hey, I just want to make sure. Okay. I just want to make sure we grab the right content, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we can double check it with you just to triple check links and send it to your CMO as well. So that's fine.
Yeah.
So that gives us videos. That gives us creative images. Do you guys have a repository of images you maybe used before, like inside of a Google Doc?
No, I honestly, before you guys, I haven't really used Google Docs. I use Dropbox, but I can.
That's fine. If you have a Dropbox link for that, that's fine. I'll mix that to you in the to-do list too. So the Dropbox link for any creatives, it'll just, once we see your creatives, we'll test some of them out, but it just gives us an idea of like, oh, this is what you liked, or this is kind of around the your thought process. And we'll test other stuff too.
Well, essentially how I've done this in the past, and I can tell you this, the things that have performed the best in the past are more like practical looking images, like somebody doing something. But how I've done this in the past is I've essentially just gave a graphic designer some keywords around like 4 different things, and she just sent stuff. And in the past, I just posted all of those ads, and the ones that did better, I turned the other ones off and let the ones that were perform well keep going. So I don't have like a strategic, like you'll see, if you see them, they're going to be completely different from time to time because I didn't have any method with this.
That's okay. We just kind of like to see what kind of your thought process. We always test other stock images. One of the things that we do is we also Google emotions, so we can see how does Google the relevance of the emotional word that we use. So, okay, so that gives us creative, that gives us links, that gives us tracking. We'll figure out. We have customer data. Have you a testimonial page? So we'll ask. So we'll work with the CMO to get all the links for the entire funnel.
Mm-hmm.
You have a testimonial page?
Yeah, we have all the videos. They're on YouTube as well, but and we do have a testimonial page. We are redoing this launch funnel. It's being rebuilt, and it will be done in the next 3 or 4 days, 5 days maximum.
Great. Okay. Let's see, and then we have CPA goals for your launch. Leads. What's kind of like a baseline that we can shoot for at first? Cost per lead.
Cost per lead on Posture Experts. Well, again, the only reference I have is what I've done with Facebook, and my typical cost per lead
Right.
And this is anywhere from $2.80 upwards to usually $5. I cap it at 5. I don't go over that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again,
You would line
I'm
in the
just-
sand.
I'm just like, this is what I know. This is how I do it. And that's, but again, I don't like, I'm kind of trusting, I'm putting like, you guys are the experts here. So you tell me what to do, and then we can hone it in and we can make it better. I don't want to set the guidelines because I don't know what the guidelines are. You see what I'm saying? You're asking me questions
I understand.
my sphere of experience, but I have no idea is that best practices or worst practices. So you can just tell me a lot.
I don't know. I understand. The reason I ask you the question, it really comes around your comfortability, because if I know you run
I'm
a path that gives me some kind of line.
comfortable with you doing whatever it takes to make this successful.
Okay, perfect. I just want to know if I get a $12 lead, if that's regular or it's really fucked up. So what you said, like for the lead cost, what you just mentioned, sounds about in line. Like I would guess it's around $3 or $4 when it's honing in.
But what I really want to start doing is generating a lot more leads. So like I've said, I don't know if it's unrealistic to be able to collect 10,000 leads at $4 a lead, you know? So
different distinction. Okay.
I need more leads.
Okay.
So my typical launch is like the best lead generation we've done from a launch, not counting affiliates, just from our cold traffic, has been like 2,200. And that was for postural neurology. The best one we've ever done with this program, in that, like, almost like you're saying, the two-week window. For us, it was actually 10 days. It's been like, I think probably 16 to 1,800 leads. That's what I want to. That's one of the things I want to change.
Perfect.
Scaling this.
So if nothing else, we can have a baseline number. Let's go for if we can get 2,500 leads for the $3 to $4 range. It's a good win in baseline that we can move. Yeah, this is exactly what we have in discussion. So that's perfect. So that's what we do. Is the goal, Steve, then would be 2,500 leads in the pre-launch from $3 to $4. If we can get it at the 350 mark, it's great. And when I say 350, by the way, I'm quantifying the price.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So $10,000 budget for the pre-launch.
Well, to clarify this, we would be talking about the pre-launch is what
Actually,
we
yes.
spent this on.
Yeah, you're correct. My mistake. Yes, $10,000 to get leads during that pre-launch, because then we get 2,500 leads and they come in on average of $4.
That's good for you for your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And by the way, of course, we run this every couple of days, just run a couple $100. So we're monitoring at all times. Okay, so this gives us links, tracking images, copy,
One thing to keep in mind, it's one of the more difficult points in anybody who's in our industry with online, is making sure Facebook gets the right lead. What happened, and we're seeing this right now with one of our current lead magnets that's out there, is sometimes the people who pick up on it and like it the most, or at least at the beginning, is general public. So like general consumer. And so then Facebook directs everything, with their analytics, their algorithm towards those type of people.
Yes,
and we get a lot of unqualified leads. It's something we're running into right now.
Unqualified lead. Okay.
So again, I don't know if there's a way, and one of the things we've been talking about is making the language much more technical, or having another step that really weeds out the people. But like, for example, it's pretty clear. We have a lead magnet going right now. It's called the Definitive Guide to Posture Analysis. And in there, it talks healthcare professional, blah, blah, blah. But still, it came out like almost 50% of the people that opted in for that were general consumers, just with curiosity about
So one last other question there. When you saw the general public opting in like that, were you testing a lot of different general audiences, or do you feel at that time you were targeting pretty specifically?
No, we were trying to expand. So we like in the past, I've always just done like copied my list, and then I narrowed it way down, like to targeted groups of like anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 audience max. Cause I broke it down very specific. We're talking about like a lookalike audience of my customers at 1 million, broke it down to United States, 20 to 25 chiropractors, and then that right there would be like 5,000 people. And so we kept it really specific. When we did that, of course, So leads were very qualified, but we were limited on how many.
They're expensive.
Yeah. No. Actually,
Yeah.
that's our cheapest lead. Is when we were like that, it was our cheapest leads. But
But you can't scale it.
we wanted to try and get more, so we didn't we did bigger groups of audiences, hoping that Facebook would pick up on the right people, and then we, let them do more of the sorting versus us doing it. And that's why we're running into this a lot of general consumers.
We'll play around with that to optimize for some conversion, but that's great. That's great feedback. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know, or how do you know by roughly if you're starting to see a bunch of consumers come in? Is it at the end of the launch? Do you see kind of right away when they're opening emails? Like, where do you?
We see it when they're opting into the Facebook group. So Krista, she goes through and looks at everybody, and you'll see if they don't have any kind, healthcare professionals have some kind of healthcare, either a school or a clinic they work for, or what they're posting or whatever. It's pretty easy to see. General consumers are just your kind of person working at some kind of, fast food chain or whatever,
Okay. So we'll just have to double check on that. What do people look like coming into the group? Okay. We can use some of the qualification process in the copy. This is great. This is great feedback. It's great. Anything else that comes to top of mind? This is really good.
No, not right this second. Yeah.
So will we target? So if we spend just to go through an estimated budget, if we spend,
I would say this though. Actually, this comes to my mind as far as budget is concerned. This launch is not our biggest launch. So if we're talking about optimize this one, I'd almost be more comfortable being a little bit more reserved on the ad spend, because next month we're only 45 days away. That's when we want to double down, because that's our moneymaker right there, postural neurology.
Perfect. Let's do this. Typically phase 2 is we just want to see if the boat floats, right? We want to test for 2 weeks. So now we have 2 weeks, which is great. So what we'll do is we'll test for 2 weeks instead of going balls to the wall. We typically test 2,000 to 3,000. So we'll test 2,000 to 4,000. And what we'll do is that will give us a great baseline number, and then we can decide what's your budget, because that's when we have to decide anyway how we work with each other going forward. This next launch, do we do it for a month? We'll figure that out. But this gives us our baseline numbers for 2 weeks. So I would say the budget $4,000 if it's okay with you, and it'll be the baseline traffic that we run, and then we can talk about what we do next.
Sounds good. Because postural neurology, the other thing to consider is we're talking about 2 different programs. Of course, healthcare professionals, but 2 different targeted audiences, like customers. And postural neurology, again, it's right now it's our home run hitter. It's been going up by at least 10 to 15% every time we've launched it. And our goal for this next one is a 7-figure launch. So we definitely want to put some money behind it, and we want to make it successful, which is why I'm looking to test as soon as possible so we can get this going, so we're ready going into postural neurology.
Okay. Steve, do you have any other questions?
For me, it's being able to get into the ad account and just do some deep dives, just kind of see the different images you use, copy, that type of stuff.
What do you need for that? Do you have an ads manager ID or profile that I can add you into the business account?
Yeah, Kurt put in chat the Dropbox link. It'll give you my ID inside of that, so you can add me to it as well as the fan page.
And we'll put this in the notes as well too. But yes, it's a step-by-step document for fan page, page manager, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then the only other one you'd be able to get into would be lead pages. And then once I can dive into kind of lead pages and take a look at
I sent you all 3. I guess it goes to your email or whatever, but I sent you all 3 LastPass access to lead pages.
Cool. Perfect. Got it. Great. That's it. So we'll reach out to your CMO, and we got the email right here. Nick will send out the notes for the next steps to do. And then Steve will dive into the ad account. And then typically what we do is we get ads up on Tuesday and Thursday. So Steve, we get a bunch of information in the account. Will you have time to throw up some ads on Tuesday, or what is your production schedule look like?
Yeah, actually by end of day Tuesday. End of day Tuesday, we can start doing some testing and possibly even dive a little bit more into it on Wednesday, but at least get some initial stuff up on Tuesday.
Okay.
And I don't know if this helps you or not, Kurt, but we were going to go ahead and like what I typically do. The launch starts not next week, the week after, like the actual pre-launch for the free training.
Right.
It starts on the 8th. But what I've typically done is because we'll have everything ready, is I start the Facebook ads for that free training the week before,
Okay.
just to give Facebook enough time to optimize the ads to really get it kicking in gear for the start of that. Because people can still opt in and see the first video, and then they can wait a little bit longer to get the second video. But what I've found in the past is with these launches, we have a very small window of opportunity for that free training. If they haven't watched the free training, by the time we get to cart open, they're not going to buy because they're
Absolutely
not hot. So I've started opening up that free training earlier, just like with Facebook ads, getting people in there. So Facebook optimizes that ads and we run with it. That way, when we're ready to go, we're full speed ahead.
Sounds great.
In days.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is we were planning, we're going to, I don't know if this is something you guys will be able to do or if there's something we need to do at the same time or whatever, but I'm planning on this week, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, starting the free training. So if that's something that would be better to have you guys do on your end for for testing purposes, then that's what we should probably do.
Steve, what do you think? I got a couple of ideas around this because I like this. Mark, I like when you set it up and we can take it and run with it because there's a rhyme or reason that you do some stuff. And I know that you said, hey, we're the experts and we'll run with it, which is great. We're just leveraging, what you've done and just fine tuning it. Steve, what do you prefer?
My initial reaction to that is if it's worked for you in the past and it sounds like a nice easy way for us to be able to jump into it, I'm comfortable with that.
Do you guys want to have, do you want to have a say in the demographics or anything like that? Because I'm not, all I was trying to say is this is what's on our calendar right now. This is what we're getting ready to do going into this launch. But now that we're having this meeting right here, if you guys are able and it makes sense, then there's no reason why we wouldn't. What I'm saying is we want to start the free training ads this coming week so that they're optimized by the next week, because this is a very short launch too. It's 10 days total. So that means it's only about 6 days of actual, the free training part. So it's only 6 days before the card opens.
Okay. Yes. I guess the most critical thing we need is obviously the dates for each one of the activities, for all the PLCs. Nick will write that down. So that's the to-do list, the dates of the PLCs and card open and card close. The first answer is yes. We can always get up your ads right away, right? If you just give us the content and all the other stuff that we've talked about, we're happy to run those ads. If this is something that you're like, hey, look, this is a process that I like to do, and you want us to then jump into it and approve it and all the targeting, we're happy to. What we like to say is we don't have to reinvent the process. If there's something that you like to do and it's worked for you, we are absolutely happy to look it over and improve it. Whatever you're most comfortable with, whatever's the fastest way to making money. So either we can start running ads. Actually, Steve, what would be about if you just started running ads, just some cold ideas? Mark throws up a couple of ads and then you'll look over his stuff and then just run it. So we have a double effort going.
That's what I was just kind of wondering, is if that's a possibility. So I can see exactly who you're targeting, kind of what you're pulling together. Plus with us starting off on day number one, is that obviously we haven't gotten the account. We haven't honed in on the audience. You have experiences where we have honed in on the audience. So we'd always be split testing your stuff against some of our new stuff as well. So I like that idea.
So we just go ahead and set it up and then have you look in there and give feedback, or?
You set it up, you run it and go live. We will do ads going live as well, and we'll see which one's really going to perform the best. But at least that gives me opportunity to see how you get things set up.
Perfect.
Yeah, just to be clear, we'll manage the process. So once you've set it up and you're like, hey guys, I just set it up the old way. Can you just take a look at it? We'll run it from there. Like if you want to look at stuff, it's fine. Ideally, just one thing, we always make sure you say this, is if you ever have any questions or anything, happy to answer. Most of the times we look over data over 3 days. So as long as once you start the ads, you just let us know and we'll turn them off. But as long as no one else turns them off, that's just a big aha. If you start them, oh my God, that's great. But as long as we all agree that no one turns them off unless there's like a big oh shit or something, we're good. Just because they're all momentum and stuff like that.
So what do you mean by that? Just out of curiosity. So let me explain. So when we run ours previously, like I said, we kind of we get them more specific, smaller custom audiences. So I'll have anywhere from like 200 to 250 ad sets, for example, and then we let them run for typically 3 days, 4 days. And then then they start to optimize. We can see the ones that aren't performing and are performing. We start turning the ones that are either costing too much or not performing. We start turning those off.
Same process.
Pretty
much same process. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we pretty much same process. Yeah.
So is that okay then, is what I'm asking, or you're saying don't do it?
No, that's absolutely what we would do. So yeah, do that. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or will you do that? That's my question, because this is how I would like. Right now we're in a transition period. What I don't want to do is be like, okay, they're going to do this, and you're like, okay, Mark's going to cover it, and then we're like, what the fuck? They went $1,000 because nobody turned the ad off. So I'm just trying to clarify.
Yes. Thank you. That's a good distinction. It is once you have the ads started, we look at the ads daily, and then we turn stuff off like every 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So if you say, hey guys,
turn it off then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah. Because we want to make it where you add your brilliance, but you don't have to feel like you have to manage the entire process. That's the main thing.
Gotcha.
You start it up and you're like, hey guys, run it. And then if you like look in the account and you're like, wait a minute, why are these leads $5 or $7 and they haven't been turned off yet? Well, the aggregate is $250. We wanted to test this for, but we'll watch it every single day. And we'll turn stuff off quickly too.
Okay, cool.
Pretty much the exact same process you did. So see, I have everything I need. Steve, you have everything you need?
Yeah.
And then Nick will send over all the notes okay. Good. And let's rock and roll and start testing.
All right.
We'll send over an email with next step.
Yes, please,
Perfect.
Nick, send me the video as soon as you can, so I can get it to Luke, and then the to-do list, so we can get you what you need.
That's Steve actually recorded on your end. Can you render it and upload it to YouTube?
Yep, will do.
Thank you.
You betcha.
Cool.
All right, let's get rock and roll and get to work.
All right, and Steve, as soon as you send me that business ID, I'll put that into our account manager.
It's actually inside of the link instead of chat. So that way you can add me to the analytics, you can add me to business manager, you can add me to your fan page. It's the Google and Facebook setup and access Dropbox link that you're putting in there.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I'll drop it back down.
Okay, I see it. So enter my partner's ID 8325 blah 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 blah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. All right, I got it.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks everybody.
Awesome. Let's get started. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, bye.